Okay, back to another video. This time working on the Sonic. There's a little bit of breeze out here. Not sure if that's picking up or not, so I do apologize. Kind of comes and goes. But 2013 Chevy Sonic RS manual. Had this car for a few years, done a few things to it. Nothing performance-wise yet as far as the drivetrain. Just some suspension things. It's got the later generation wheels. I like them a little bit better than the earlier generation RS wheels. I did rotors, pads, rotors, just basic brake upgrades. It is lowered on ZZP lowering springs. It's got a rear sway bar. I'm probably forgetting other things. I mean, it's been tinted and stuff, but otherwise it's pretty clean. You know, it's got some weird scuffs on it, and it's very dirty right now. But I've had it for a couple of years. Fun car. But it's finally time to add a little more power to it. I actually have a whole bunch of parts. Well, not that much. I have some parts in the garage for this. But today we're going to focus on a real easy one. Just doing the intake. So, under the hood here, stock. Everything's bone stock. Basic stuff here. 1.4 Ecotech, little turbo down there, stock intake. I did replace, I can't remember what you technically call it, but the tube back there is notorious for leaking. I think it's with the PCV, or I don't know what it is on the intake. I replaced that. I don't even know if I fixed it or not, but it was replaced. Had to put a new battery in it because I think it died over the winter, but it was not. Might have been the original. I doubt it was, but did have to replace the coolant overflow tank. It's a pressurized system. This tank's pressurized. It got a crack somewhere in the bottom when I first kind of started driving this a month or so back after it sat most of the winter. Otherwise, yeah, not too terribly exciting under here. But yeah, so the install today, pretty basic, just the intake. So the stock one has an elbow to a tube to a filter box, and it does look like it has some kind of draw down below the lights, so it probably pulls. I mean, these are fake, so I'm not sure exactly where it's pulling air, so it's cold-ish air, but I'm sure it can always be better. So anyway, as far as the kit, I have it over here. I hope I have all the parts. I ordered a few different things for actually Cobalt stuff. Also Sonic, and I'll be honest, I can't remember whatever else. But kind of came in a couple giant boxes. So I think I have all the right pieces, but filter, intake tube, a couple pieces of hardware, the kind of the shield, the heat shield, and this is the elbow. I'm guessing probably throttle body to gets a little bit larger here, probably to the intake side. But anyway, that's the kit. Of course, gotta have your tea. But yeah, so that's the kit. Should be a really quick install. I'm not gonna probably show it piece by piece because I imagine it's pretty unbolt, bolt, pretty simple stuff. But yeah. Okay, so before we actually put it on, I did go to the ZZP website just to see on the instructions if there's anything unique and special. It looks pretty basic. But there is, I'm just reading it here, looking at my phone. It does say it makes a 12 horsepower increase in the stock computer because it leans out the air fuel and bumps the boost, which is actually a little surprising. A tune computer is only about 5 or 6, probably because you're doing all the other things with the tune. For builds in excess of 250 horsepower, the insert can be removed. So yeah, I did notice on the intake tube there is some kind of metal insert in there. Not sure exactly. They probably realize on smaller, stock machines it probably helps to be somewhat restricted. Not quite sure. But anyway, let's get the old stuff off here and then get this thing on. Okay, the original stuff's all off. There wasn't really much to it. Couple bolt, well, what was it? A couple screws, flathead, Torx, etc. But anyway, mass air sensor sitting over there, but took that off. Yeah, not too much. Took just a couple minutes. The only weird thing I noticed, this is all the OG stuff over here. Typical kind of OEM intake tubes. The elbow did have, I thought it was unusually large, and it definitely has a kind of an open chamber in there. Probably not the best for most efficient airflow. It's probably more a sound thing. And also the top of the air intake box has this odd, I don't know, maybe it's a common thing on newer cars. I mostly work on older cars. But it's got kind of like, I don't know if it's moisture or what it is, but some kind of filter thing in the box and your classic standard filter. So anyway, time to put this stuff on there. Okay, so this is the installed cold air intake without the heat shield, just to kind of show what you get. You get a filter, intake tube, elbow, goes down the turbo down there. That's really it. The shield itself looks like it actually mounts to the motor mount bolts, nut and bolt that comes off those, two there, and then just one little clip here and covers all that up. It is currently kind of sitting on what is that, air conditioning line, but I think it'll probably come up a little bit once it's actually in the housing or in the hole for the heat shield. So yeah, let's wrap this up and see what it sounds like. I imagine probably get that sucking intake sound and probably get the kind of that turbo pressure sound as well. Similar to, I think this one, I did cold air intake on this, and I was surprised how much more noise you really got out of it. Oh, by the way, look at that. Ugh, look at that pollen. That is just, that is awful. So part of the reason why I haven't finished this project, swapped out the trunk lids. Got to do the hoods next, but it hasn't been the biggest priority just with this pollen. But it is finally dying off. Get a little bit of rain, and then we can clean these things up. So even this car, I haven't really worried too much about the cleanliness at the moment, because ugh, it's just that nice cracked windshield. Gonna finally get that fixed, but just that time of year. So anyway, let's wrap this up. All right, well, there it is. It's installed. Yeah, pretty basic. If I didn't kind of goof around with the camera and everything, it's probably a 20-minute job. It's pretty quick. It is kind of just, you know, just kind of sits in there, but I guess the AC hose, wherever that is that coolant? I don't know what it is. It touches, but hopefully it doesn't rattle. The wiring for the mass airflow sensor plug is just about touching the, that's not the best. It's just about touching the edge of the, what do you want to call it? Cylinder head cover. The valve cover, I should say. But it's not touching, it's just close. But I think it's okay. So yeah, not much to it. It's on. Looks nice and clean. I think the little cover piece really kind of sells it. I think it does a really good job. You know, it's still obviously holes all around it for air, but it does give it a good look. So yeah, I guess next thing, or really final thing now, is to fire up the old car here and see what it does. Probably won't really take a test drive tonight, but at least rev it up and see what the sounds are. And yeah, you know, it's not much, but get a tune in this thing. I don't know if I mentioned, I have a full exhaust to install from the turbo all the way out the tailpipe. So put that on next, and then I need to get a tune. This intake apparently does a little bit, but intake exhaust and tune, that'll really be nice. So let's see what this thing sounds like. Okay, in the car, close the door. Did put the hood down because we're going to try to simulate as much as possible sort of what it's like driving. I'll do a video later driving this on the road and see if I have any driving impressions. But oh, this car is so dirty. I left the windows down, not overnight, but just during the day over the weekend, and it just, all the pollen came in here, and oh, this thing needs a cleaning. But anyway, let's see what this thing sounds like. I should make sure there is no noise. It's doing its warm-up thing. All right, on fire up. Eh. Ooh, a little Metallica. Turn that off, even though I want to listen to that. But anyway, 95,000 miles, getting 33 miles a gallon. Not too bad. But anyway, bought this thing with 70 something, so I've put almost 20K on it. That's crazy. I've had this for 2.5 years. But anyway, initial sound, idling, nothing. Sounds the same. Yeah, this car is not cold, but it's also not warm, so I shouldn't be revving it up too much. I don't really hear anything. When I did the, as we're staring at it over there, when I did the Cobalt intake, wow, that was dramatic. I was not expecting the amount of change that one did. This one doesn't sound much different, so maybe when you're driving around it'll sound more, but all I hear is the engine revving. I don't really hear any suction, or obviously you're not going to hear the boost because you're going to hear that when you're driving, but I don't really hear any sucking noise. So anyway, okay, so wrapping this one up here. Just turning the car on, not much of a difference. Give it a little tiny bit of rev. Obviously you're not going to hear the wastegate noise on the turbo, just sitting here. But yeah, I think overall, I mean, ZZP makes a really nice product. Looks good. Pick up a few horsepower, that'd be great. And I think adding the tune and the exhaust will probably be a good combination, but just starting with the easy one for now. So yeah, overall, real simple install, no issues. But yeah, so on that note, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Okay, so I did take it for a quick little spin, just want to hear what it sounded like, and a couple things. It definitely does have more engine noise. When I fired it up a little while ago there, I didn't really initially notice, but just driving around, definitely you can just hear the engine more. I don't hear much of a sucking noise, maybe very faint, but you definitely get that, I might have said wastegate, but the blow off, you definitely get that psh on the blow off a little bit when you're letting off the gas with some boost. So yeah, overall I'd say it looks good, sounds good. If it gets a little more power, that's cool. I didn't really notice. I didn't get it on too hard. You know, I did, obviously there's no tune in this. Did disconnect the battery. I don't know if the computer's learning or whatever right now, but so probably a little bit of performance, sound, looks, maybe even a little bit of fuel economy too, who knows. But this will be a good piece to add to the tune and then the exhaust. So yeah, I think that's enough for talking about intake at this point. So leaving for real this time. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.